Hi guys, welcome again to Sunil Engineering Academy YouTube channel. As we all know, a special complete arithmetic series has been started in our channel and it has been running very successfully. This is another video as a part of that series and let's start the video. In the previous videos, we have discussed about the definitions of ratio and proportion and some mechanisms which are going to be very useful in the coming examinations. In this video, I would like to provide you all the important properties of ratio and proportion. And here before us, there is an important property of ratio that is nothing but inverse or reciprocal ratio. Let us take a ratio of A is to B. A is to B is a very simple ratio. And if you need the inverse or reciprocal ratio of this ratio A is to B, that is nothing but 1 by A is to 1 by B, or 1 upon A is to 1 upon B. Or we can directly write B is to A. 1 by A is to 1 by B, when simplified, gives us B is to A. This B is to A is the reciprocal or inverse ratio of A is to B. Reciprocal ratio of the common ratio A is to B is equal to B is to A, or 1 upon A is to 1 upon B. Let us take a ratio with three terms. A is to B is to C is a ratio. Then the reciprocal ratio of A is to B is to C would be 1 by A is to 1 by B is to 1 by C, or we can directly write the reciprocal ratio of A is to B is to C as, when the ratio has three terms, the reciprocal ratio also has three terms. Here A is to B is to C, a ratio has three terms, then the reciprocal ratio of A is to B is to C also has three terms. To write the first term of the reciprocal ratio, just keep the first term of the given ratio aside and take the multiplication or product of the remaining two terms, that is BC. The product of BC is nothing but BC. To write the second term, or to get the second term of the inverse ratio, just leave aside the second term and take the product of the remaining two terms, that is AC. To get the third term of the inverse ratio, just take the other two terms of the product of the other two terms of the ratio, that is AB. Then we can directly conclude that the BC is to AC is to AB would be the inverse or reciprocal ratio of A is to B is to C. We can directly write the inverse ratio of with the number with any number of terms just like this. The inverse ratio of A is to B is equal to B is to A, and the inverse ratio of A is to B is to C would be the product of two, that is BC, the product of other than B that is AC, and the product of other than C, that is AB. This would be the reciprocal or inverse ratio of the given ratios. Here we have a very important property of proportion, that is direct proportion. Here we have the definition of direct proportion. You can see the definition of direct proportion on your screens. Two quantities are said to be in direct proportion if an increase or decreasing in one quantity, the other quantity also increase or decrease proportionately, that is in the same ratio. This is the definition of the direct proportion, and direct proportion is going to be used very widely in arithmetic. Let us take two quantities, namely speed and distance. When we travel with the speed of 10 kilometers per hour, take time as constant value of 1 hour. When we travel with the speed of 10 kilometers per hour, then we can cover a distance of 10 kilometers. In that particular time. But when we travel with a speed of 20 kilometers per hour, then we can cover a distance of 20 kilometers, or we can travel a distance of 20 kilometers in that particular time of 1 hour. What we have observed here, when the speed is increased from 10 to 20, the distance we covered also increased from 10 to 20. Now the two quantities speed and distance are in direct proportion. We can say that speed and distance are in direct proportion. When one quantity is increased, the other quantity also increase in the same proportion. Let us take, we are traveling with the speed of 5 kilometers per hour. Then the distance traveled in 1 hour would be 5 kilometer. When we decrease the speed, the distance traveled by us also decreased to 5 kilometers. When we increased the speed, the distance traveled by us also increased in the same proportionate. Now we can conclude that the two quantities, namely speed and distance, namely speed and distance, are in direct proportion, and to indicate that we use this sign of direct proportion. When we write like this, speed is directly proportional to distance. When we increase or decrease the speed, the distance also increase or decrease in the same proportionate. Speed and distance are in direct proportion. And another property of the ratio and proportion is indirect or inverse proportion. This direct proportion and indirect proportion are widely used in the chain rule, which is a chapter in the arithmetic. Chain rule. Whether you solve the chain rule according to the inverse proportion or direct proportion is no matter, but indirect proportion, direct proportion are widely used in the chain rule and in time and distance also. When we take the ratios of the time and speed in the time and distance, time, speed and distance chapter, we use the indirect or inverse proportion widely. The definition of indirect and inverse proportion is on your screens now. This is the definition of, or some clarification for the indirect or inverse proportion. Two quantities are said to be in indirect or inverse proportion. Two quantities are said to be in indirect or inverse proportion if an increase in one quantity, the other quantity decreases in the same ratio and vice versa. If we increase one quantity, then the other quantity would be decrease. If we decrease one quantity, and the other quantity would be increase in the same proportion. Then we can conclude that those two quantities are in indirect or inverse proportion. For an example, take speed and time. Take speed and time. We need to travel a constant distance of 100 kilometers. We need to travel a constant distance of 100 kilometers. In the first case, we traveled with the speed of 25 kilometers per hour. In the first case, we have traveled with 25 kilometers per hour. While we traveling with 25 kilometers per hour, we take 4 hours to cover the distance. 4 hours. But when we increase the speed to 50 kilometers per hour, then the time required to cover the 100 kilometers would be 2 hours only. If we decrease the speed to 10 kilometers per hour, then the time to cover the 100 kilometers would be 10 hours. What have you observed here? Just look at the proportions of the speed and time here. When the speed is 25 kilometers per hour, it took 4 hours. When the speed is increased to 50 kilometers per hour, the time decreased to 2 hours only. When the speed is decreased to 10 kilometers per hour, the time increased to 10 hours. Now we can conclude that speed and time are changing inversely, or speed and time are in indirect or inverse proportion. When we increase one quantity, the other quantity are decreasing in the same proportion, or when we decrease the one quantity, other quantity is increasing in the same proportion. Just look at this to get a clarity on this. We increase the speed by 2 times and we decrease the speed by 2 times. The time would be half of the previous time. When we decrease the speed from 50 to 25, then the time would be double of the previous time. That means 4 hours is double of the 2 hours. In the same proportion, if we decrease the speed from 25 to 10 kilometers per hour, then the time would be from 4 to 10 hours. Just take the ratio of the 25 kilometers per hour and the 10 kilometers per hour. Just take the ratio of 25 kilometers and the 10 kilometers per hour. That would be, when simplified, gives us 5:2. The speed was decreased in the ratio of 5:2, and the time, just look at the time. The time taken previously was 4 hours and now it is 10 hours. When it is simplified, it is in the ratio of 2:5. The time was in 2:5. When the speed was decreased in the ratio 5:2, the time increased in the ratio 2:5. Now we can conclude that speed and time are inversely proportional to each other, and to indicate the inversely proportional between two quantities we use this sign, and we can write like this: speed is inversely proportional to time or indirect proportion. Now speed and time are in indirect or inverse proportion. This is what we call direct proportion and indirect proportion. And another important property of the relation proportion is continued proportion. Here we have the clarification of the continued proportion or the definition of the continued proportion. Three numbers are said to be in continued proportion when the ratio of the first number to the second number is equal to the ratio of the second number to the third number. Let us take three numbers. Let us take any three numbers like A, B, C. When we say A, B, C are in continued proportion, then they must have a ratio between the first and two terms is equal to the second and third terms. That means the ratio between first and the second term, that is A is to B, must be in proportion with the ratio of the second term and the third term, that is B is to C. Or let us take 1, 2 and 4 are 3 quantities. The ratio between the first term and the second term, that is 1:2, and the ratio between the second term and the third term is 2 and third term is 4. When simplified, it also gives us 1:2. Now the ratio between first term and the second term is equal to the ratio between the second term and third term. Now we can say that 1, 2 and 4 are in continued proportion. Sometimes when we solving the progression chapter, we can say this is a geometric progression. Okay, that's a different task, and we can discuss about the progressions or geometric progression or arithmetic progression in the progressions chapter when we are solving the pure math chapters. Just take this in the ratio proportion, take this series as a continued proportion. We can say 1, 2, 4 are in a continued proportion. Let us take if you like to take another example, take 3, 9 and 27. 3, 9 and 27. 3, 9 and 27 are also in continued proportion. If we take the ratio between the first two terms and the ratio between the second term and the third term, we can get the same ratio of 1:3, 9 ones and 9 threes, that is 1:3. Now we can say that 3:9 is proportional to 9:27, and 3, 9, 27 are in ratio in continued proportion. This is another very easy and important concept of ratio and proportion, that is continued proportion. And then we have a property of invertendo. Invertendo is widely used in so many chapters, and in algebra to solve some typical questions. When we imply the invertendo property, we can get the answers quickly. Then what is invertendo? If A by B is equal to C by D, A by B is nothing but A is to B. A by B is nothing but A is to B. That means A upon B is nothing but A is to B. The ratio A is to B can be written as A upon B also. We all know that. If A by B is equal to C by D, then according to the invertendo property, B upon A is equal to D upon C. If A upon B is equal to C upon D, according to invertendo property, B upon A is equal to D upon C. This is invertendo property of the A is to B. We have another property, that is alternando. If A upon B is equal to C upon D is a ratio, that means if A upon B, a ratio is equal to another ratio of C upon D, if A upon B is equal to C upon D, then according to alternando property, A upon C is equal to B upon D. There is no difference between A upon B equal to C upon D and A upon C equal to B upon D. This is called alternando property. If you need to check a example to that, take a ratio of, that is 1:2 is equal to 2:4. 1:2 is equal to 2:4. When we write according to the alternando property, that means 1 upon 2 is equal to 2 upon 4. 2 upon 4. 2 upon 4 is nothing but 1 by 2. That means 1 upon 2. According to the alternative property, we got the same result as 1 by 2 or 2 by 4. Okay, this is called alternative property. And another very, very important property is componendo. Componendo property. Take a proportion, take a two ratios which are in proportion, that is A is to B equal to C is to D. If A is to B equal to C is to D, then according to the component of property, A plus B by B is equal to C plus D upon D. Okay, according, this is what we called component of property. This can be derived from by adding 1 on both the sides of the given ratios, that is A upon B plus 1 is equal to C upon D plus 1. Just add 1 to the both sides of the given ratio, then we can get A plus B upon B is equal to C plus D upon D. This is what we simply derived from the A upon B equal to C upon D. A plus B by B equal to C plus D upon D. This is component of property. And dividendo. If A upon B is equal to C upon D, then A minus B upon B is equal to C minus D upon D. This is what we call the dividendo property. If A by B is equal to C by D, then A minus B upon B is equal to C minus D upon D. This is what we call dividendo property. This was derived from subtracting 1 from the both sides of the given ratios, that is A upon B minus 1 is equal to C upon D minus, just subtract 1 from the both the sides of the equation, both the sides of the ratio, both ratios. That means A minus B upon B is equal to C minus D upon D. This is what we derived directly according to the dividendo property. If A upon B equal to C upon D, then A minus B upon B equal to C minus D upon D. This is dividendo property of the ratios. This is the best and the most important concept, that is componendo and dividendo. Componendo and dividendo. We cannot say what is the role of componendo and dividendo in a single word. Component dividendo property has a wide range of usage, and it's a vital property which should have been learned by us to solve the questions very quickly. Componendo and dividendo. If A upon B is equal to C upon D, if A upon B is equal to C upon D, then according to component dividendo, A plus B upon A minus B is equal to C plus D upon C minus D. This is the very, very important property of the ratio proportion, that is componendo and dividendo. If we have a proportion like A by B is equal to C by D, then we can easily write A plus B by A minus B equal to C plus D by C minus D. This is componendo and dividendo. And another important property of the ratio proportion is addendo. If A by B is equal to C by D or A upon B equal to C upon D, then according to addendo, A plus C by B plus D is also equal to the given two ratios. If you have a two ratios A by B equal to C by D, then the summation of those two numerators is equal to the summation of those two denominators. A plus C upon B plus D is also equal to the given two ratios. This is addendo property. And subtractendo. If you have A by B is equal to C by D, then the subtraction of the numerators is equal to the subtraction of the denominators. If you have A by B is equal to C by D, then A minus C upon B minus D is also equal to the both the ratios, both the given ratios, that is A by B equal to C by D. This is subtractendo property. And convertendo. If A by B is equal to C by D, if A by B equal to C by D, then according to the convertendo property, A by A minus B is equal to C by C minus D. This is what we call the convertendo property. These all are the very important and basic properties of the ratio proportion, starting from the direct proportion, indirect proportion, continued proportion, invertendo, alternando, componendo, dividendo, componendo and dividendo. This is very, very important property. Don't neglect this. This must be known to everyone who are trying to solve the arithmetic problems. Addendo, subtractendo, convertendo, and here we have another, that is duplicate ratio. Duplicate ratio. If you have a ratio of A is to B, if you have a ratio of A is to B, then the duplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B would be A square is to B square. A square is to B square. This is what we call the duplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B. And subduplicate ratio of the given ratio. Let us take a ratio A is to B, then the subduplicate ratio of the subduplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B would be under root of A is to under root of B. Under root of A is to under root of B. This is what we call the subduplicate ratio. Or the subduplicate ratio of A is to B would be A power 1 by 2 is to B power 1 by 2. B power 1 by 2. That is subduplicate ratio. Triplicate ratio. Let us take a ratio of A is to B. If A is to B is a ratio, then the triplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B would be A cube is to B cube. A cube is to B cube. This is the triplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B. And subtriplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B would be cube root of A is to cube root of B. Cube root of A is to cube root of B would be the subtriplicate ratio of the given ratio A is to B. Or in other terms, A power 1 by 3 is to B power 1 by 3. We can write like that also. And another important property of a ratio, that is, if A is to B, that means A upon B is equal to C upon D is equal to E upon F and so on. There are some ratios which are equal to each other. Then we can conclude that A plus C plus E and so on up to the given terms is equal to B plus D plus F and so on up to the given terms. This is another property of the rational proportion. If A upon B is equal to C upon D equal to E upon F are equal to each other and so on, then the summation of A plus C plus E up to the given terms upon the summation of B plus D plus F up to the given terms is also equal to the given three equal ratios. Is also equal to the given three equal ratios. And if A upon B is equal to C upon D is equal to E upon F are three equal ratios and so on, then we can say or conclude that A minus C and so on up to the given terms upon B minus D minus F and so on to the up to terms is also equal to the given three equal ratios. When three ratios A upon B is equal to C upon D equal to E upon F, then A minus C up to the given terms upon B minus D minus F up to given terms is also equal to the given three equal ratios. And if A upon B is equal to C upon D is equal to E upon F and so on, then A upon B is equal to C upon D is equal to E upon F is also equal to RA plus SC plus TE by RB plus SD plus TF is also equal to the given three equal ratios. Okay, just observe here. We have a three equal ratios of A is to B, C is to D and E is to D which are equal to each other. Then when we multiply the first ratio with R on numerator and denominator, and we multiply the second ratio with s on both the denominator and numerator, and we multiply the third ratio e is to f with t on both the numerator and denominator. Then according to the previous properties which we have seen in the just now, RA plus SC plus TE upon RB plus ST plus TF is also equal to the given three ratios. This is also very important result which is going to be used in the coming videos to solve some questions. We have discussed some important properties of the ratio and proportion in this video, and I hope you understood this, and this must be known to everyone who are preparing for the competitive examinations. These are the best properties which we are going to be used in the coming videos. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's meet in the other video with some important questions of the ratio and proportions and the practice sessions on the ratio and proportion. And please subscribe our channel, and please share to your friends and hit the bell icon to get the instant notifications. Thank you.